videos.
Hello, welcome to the first episode of the ScreenWipe podcast, where we talk about films and stuff. Just a few things to clear up before we sort of dive right in. We don't know what we're doing because we've never made a podcast before. It's kind of just going to grow with us, so the structure of the episodes might change as we go along. We're just going to figure it out, and that'll be all good. So, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, I'm Jacob. I am the daddy of this podcast.
I mean,
I've decided.
Okay, it wasn't really a group vote thing, but I'm Ben Walker, and I'm the fun one who has all the charisma, while these two boring people just talk about things.
I think that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
that's how it is.
I'm the tallest one, so that counts for something.
I mean,
Yeah.
Okay then.
So
I'm Harry.
This is the best introduction any podcast has ever had.
Completely.
Yeah, let's get into
let's
it.
just get into the topic.
Let's get right into the
what
news.
we're going to do each week is we're going to take some sort of film series as one section and do another one as like a director or a specific film. It's kind of just going to be what we feel like. And first of all, today we're going to talk about Spider-Man. All of them. All of the Spider-Man movies. I have them all over there on the shelf.
All
I'm pointing.
7
you
of
can't
them.
see, but
I just winked, but you can't see.
Yeah,
I don't have Homecoming yet, but
You,
I do.
you don't have. Oh,
don't have Homecoming.
Okay, well then, why don't we begin
Marvel
The
Blu-rays.
I think the Raimi trilogy is a good start.
Marvel Blu-rays are expensive.
with the best of the Spider-Man movies? Obviously, I'm talking about the 1970s Japanese film in which Spider-Man
seen
is
it.
a goddamn Power Ranger.
I think they write about that in Ready Player One.
Really?
I think. Yep. I'm pretty sure.
I need to
if
read
I
the
remember
book.
rightly. You don't need to. You don't need to read it.
Didn't the author say something? I can't. He wrote a really weird poem.
Yeah. Anyway, Spider-Man.
Right, so we're going to start with Sam Raimi. I hope you guys don't mind if I chip in here. The first Spider-Man film, starring Tobey Maguire, that came out in 2002, is my second favourite film. Now, this is for many reasons. It's not just because I think it's a great film. I think it's great fun. I think it looks really comic book.
It's
6 out of 10.
It's because
so
J.K.
much-
Simmons is in it.
It just has
and
so much
his performance
emotion tied to me
is
personally.
beautiful.
Ben,
Yeah.
it's got so much emotion tied to me. It's trying to have a moment here.
Are we still talking about J.K. Simmons as
No,
J.
we
Jonah
never
Jameson?
I don't think we ever were.
It has so
Go on,
much
Jacob.
emotion tied to me as a person.
so
I think
good,
It
though.
means so much to me. I mean, from hearing that woman go, "It's Spider-Man," when he saves Mary Jane, to the upside-down kiss that's become infamous now. I mean,
I like Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Whichever intern thought that was a good casting decision is probably goddamn J.J. Abrams right now.
It was,
I mean,
it was probably the casting director.
to be
No,
honest,
it
I
was
think he
some
would make a really
intern.
good Joker as well.
He
just a
walked.
touch.
He
Yeah, I
walked
agree.
in on Sam Raimi and he was like, "Hey, Sam
My
Raimi,
pee itches.
do you know who would be a good guy in this movie? It would be Willem Dafoe."
So,
Wow. Willem Dafoe.
obviously,
Let's talk about him.
Jacob, you love the original trilogy.
I do.
I think they're all good. They're all
The original trilogy is probably my favourite movie trilogy.
Whoa.
1 and 2 being in my top 10 favourite films. 3, I enjoy it. I mean, it's not.
We'll get to that in a
Yeah.
second.
I mean,
Obviously, my favourite Spider-Man 2
That's
is
the
my
best one.
favourite.
That is
superhero
the
film.
best.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good, isn't it?
That's. Ooh.
I know, Jacob, you like the first one.
I mean, the
most.
first one's. I think the
Devil's
second one is.
Advocate.
The second one's arguably a better film, but the first one is my.
It holds more
my favourite.
significance to you, yeah.
Emotionally, I'm attached.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
Uh,
that's
well,
pretty cool.
I don't mind the Amazing Spider-Man films.
Oh wait, we just glossed over 3.
I thought we were doing a synoptic thing.
Oh, okay.
Or should we go back to that?
No,
We'll go back
we'll
to
do-
Raimi. We'll go back to Raimi.
Okay, let's go back to Raimi. Spider-Man 3 is not that bad.
I don't think it is
in all
either.
honesty, it's a
Completely been
fine.
ripped to shreds by.
Everyone on the internet,
I mean, it gets discussed as though it's a bigger travesty
Then,
as
like-
Suicide Squad.
which nothing
And it's
is
not.
as big as a tragedy
He's lying
as Suicide Squad. That's not true. That's a lie.
This is
She's
Katana.
lying to you.
Anyway,
90% of this podcast will just be the worst quote.
Oh my god! Can you guys? Can you see the waves? Look at the. Sorry for
Anyway,
blowing your ears
Spider-Man
out.
3. Who casted Topher Grace in the same way
I don't know.
that
I did.
Willem Dafoe was the best casting decision? that intern probably got fired when he said, "Hey,
I
do you know
think
who'd make a great Venom?"
I can't
Topher
remember
Grace.
his name. I'm going to look it up, actually. But the guy who plays Sandman in the third one, I think he's actually really well cast.
Yeah, he's
arguably.
alright.
I think Sandman in that film has a good
You
arc.
can tell that Sandman was the villain they actually cared about.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, the studio forced Raimi to put Venom in.
Yeah,
didn't
he
they?
said he didn't want to.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious because Venom just kind of shows up in the second act, and it's just like, "Hey guys, it's me, Venom! Hey!"
I was kind of like super enjoying Spider-Man 3 until sort of the third act. A lot of it, especially the infamous sort of dance club scene.
I don't hate.
That is my
love-
favourite scene because
It's so good.
no, I think
So
because,
good.
like and me and Ben have watched the videos on this, but like that is how Peter Parker. That's what he
perceives.
thinks, That's what he thinks cool is.
As a kid who has been
Yeah.
bullied his entire life, and he knows nothing about the concept of, I'm using air quotes here, coolness. That's what he perceives as cool. That really kind of sly, just, oh, I'm really cocky and arrogant. And it's cringy, but it's supposed to be cringeworthy, and it's supposed to make you feel
Peter
secondhand
Parker isn't a
embarrassment.
cool guy. Is he? Thomas Hayden Church plays Sandman. Just
Okay.
That's
Thomas
the
Hayden Church.
name.
So, I mean, let's bring it back a bit. Let's sort of work through these now. So, if we go to the first Spider-Man film, 2002.
Yeah.
Two.
The one with Willem Dafoe,
I think-
as
I
the
think
kids call it.
now with this film.
Let Jacob
um,
speak on it.
Sorry.
He likes this film.
I think with this film it gets. I think the main kind of a negative thing that I get that I hear about is that it's too campy,
It is very campy.
and then it's like a bit like a Power Rangers. But if you watch that film, it's a lot. It really is like a comic book. A lot of it. Comic books
Yeah.
aren't designed like. I mean,
feel like
especially Spider-Man ones, like around the time it was coming out, like they weren't. Oh yeah, look at
weren't
look
the
at
dark-
gritty Spider-Man. Just rip that
they
spine
weren't-
out. Like
Well,
I mean,
It's probably an interesting thing to know that you're a pretty avid comic book reader as well.
Yeah,
As
so
a-
I think I don't know if I don't know. I think I would say I might be the most avid comic book reader out of the three.
Yeah,
I've read
you-
3,
Yeah,
so-
it goes
here.
it goes you then me then Harry. I do. Read
I'm looking at them
comics.
now. I've read half of Watchmen. I've read Superman, American Alien, the whole series,
Back
and
to Spider-Man.
I've read Batman: The Killing Joke. So.
I think
Read
now-
Civil War.
I
That's a
think
good comic.
With
Is it- I thought people didn't like
with
it.
The comic. I
Civil
like
War
it.
2.
Civil War 2 was the one
Right.
that no one
with,
liked.
With
Sorry, anyway.
Spider-Man, I think, and now the special effects are like a little bit dodgy, but for it to-
2002.
But for it to come out in 2002, they still hold up. To be honest,
Wasn't Wolverine supposed to be in that movie?
He was. He, went to make a
He was getting a
but they lost
cameo.
his suit.
Yeah.
The acting. Is
Really?
very-
I didn't know
the
that.
acting is very stellar. The action. Okay, can we just talk briefly about the end action scene because
Where
for the-
Willem
because-
Dafoe gets stabbed.
I don't
because-
remember. Oh, that's so good. It's so
okay,
brutal, right?
For a 12 and for Spider-Man, that is brutal.
Yeah, no, it's-
Spider-Man
is that
The boy gets impaled.
gets
For, if
destroyed.
you don't know, one listener.
I suppose we should say that the movies we talk about will be spoiling. So
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, this is a great place to
I
say
mean,
it.
not
Mickey Mouse dies in
super
Infinity
specific,
War.
but-
Mickey Mouse dies in Infinity War, and Donald Duck's the one who kills him.
So you know we're going to be spoiling all the Spider-Man films probably,
And pretty much every other movie we're probably going to talk about.
and we're going to be spoiling Sucker Punch later if you care about that. You
yeah,
shouldn't.
no one cares about that.
Anyway,
Okay,
so jumping the gun a bit.
Spider-Man wise, I think that the end scene is brutal. Spider-Man gets beaten to a pulp.
He's
basically.
bloody.
He's at his lowest
cut
moment
face,
mentally
he's
anyway and emotionally, as they describe. We must attack his heart and stuff like he's basically dead. Like, I mean, he gets a grenade thrown at his face. Like, and obviously Green Goblin gets impaled at the end. I think that is where Sam Raimi really excels. Is in kind of those type of gory
Well, he was a horror director.
horror kind of
Yeah,
aspect
he-
because he
he
directed
directed
Evil
the-
Dead.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to talk about that?
The hospital scene in
Oh, yeah,
Spider-Man
I was
2,
gonna say that too.
It's shot like a horror film. It's probably one of my my favorite scene in the entire trilogy because it just it's scared. When I first watched it as like a little kid, I was genuinely terrified of that scene. It's a really good scene.
I mean, the Asian woman doesn't survive.
I thought they all died.
No, yeah, she scratches the floor with her nails. Like when I was a kid, I was like,
Oh yeah.
Dead in the end.
Yeah. I haven't seen the first one in a long time. I watched them when I was a kid, obviously. I probably watched the probably 2 years now, and it's been the same amount of
I
time.
watched the trilogy about a week ago again.
No, fair enough. Well, for my and I saw 3 relatively recently actually, because I watched the first 2 and then wanted to avoid the third because I'd heard horrible things about it. I was pleasantly surprised, but anyway,
it's fine.
yeah, I mean, Willem Dafoe is awesome.
He's great now.
And also, just a little fun fact here. The dinner scene that Peter Parker has with Willem Dafoe.
Is that the one where Aunt
Aunt
May
May.
slaps his wrist?
It
Yeah,
is.
I love
She's
that.
like, Norman.
Norman,
So
don't
in that
steal
scene,
my
I don't know if our
carbonara.
plethora of
Thanks, Ben.
viewers have seen this, have noticed this, but Willem.
Like 2 people are going to be
But-
listening
but
to this.
Yeah.
Willem
Hi,
Dafoe-
Mum.
Willem Dafoe, in the scene is wearing red and blue. Tobey Maguire is wearing green, and Harry Osborn is wearing a mix, and that really is the contrast. So Willem Dafoe is really contrasting Spider-Man.
That's
and
pretty
his
cool.
kind of colours,
That's a cute little
as is
nif-
Spider-Man with Green Goblin. I
Cute
think
little nifty
the inner
beat.
turmoil that Harry has, I guess, less so with the characters, but
Not
kind of
not
through
this Harry, the
No, of course,
Harry
Harry
Osborn,
Osborn.
the James Franco
James
Harry.
Franco, but with his best friend and his father. I think that's really cleverly shown through the kind of the different colours.
Sure, I didn't know that.
That kind of visual style is shown throughout the film.
One of the things interesting you touched upon the kind of the connection between the 3 men. One of the things that's always been a staple of not just the movies or the comics or cartoons of like the entire franchise has been Peter and Norman's relationship and how Norman perceives Peter as the son that he never had, and because Harry was mediocre in like every way, Norman was always like, "Hey, this other kid is really good. I like him more than my own son."
They're very. I don't want to because I know Jacob, you really like this film.
He's giving you the eyes.
There's a lot of melodrama, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of sop, and I know
It is.
I know people like that, right? The whole end scene. Is it the first one that ends with Spider-Man being like, "I can't be with you"?
Yeah, the funeral
Mary
scene.
Jane.
Yeah, that's
I was like, "Oh, for goodness sake!" But you know, I don't know. It's subjective, I suppose. But
I feel like that's kind of attributed to the campiness of the films, and
well, Sam Raimi is campy.
yeah, he was a really good fit.
Army of Darkness.
I don't
like
think I've
that
ever
film,
seen the.
I
Evil-
do.
I have never seen any of the Evil Dead.
You
films.
should. They're very
yeah,
fun.
They are.
I watched
The
it
second
after I
one's
saw
the
the new
best,
Evil Dead,
probably.
which is harrowing. The new Evil Dead made me want to shit myself.
I haven't seen it, but I know it's. You've told me about it. It's pretty rough.
And I mean,
Rough
I
and
don't
tumble.
get spooked easily. Not gonna lie.
He
like,
is not a spooked boy.
I'm not a spocker, as they would call
He
me.
is a He's a
Good
quite
memes,
a,
guys.
He's a brave boy.
Brave lad.
What about the Let's go on to the amazing because we've
We're on
spent.
Spider-Man 2. We haven't just went on.
Oh, okay, Spider-Man 2. Sorry.
I'm just getting the boxes. I'll be
the
back in a sec.
best one of the the 3
but
films,
not the most enjoyable.
according to Jacob.
I
What's the guy
disagree. I had so much fun with
who
Spider-Man
plays
2.
Dr. Octopus? I
Alfred
think
Molina.
that's his name. Thank you. He that movie. I think he's probably one of the best villains in any comic book
Put
movie.
your hands up, all of them.
He really he does the whole sympathetic villain thing very well because like I don't know, I remember every time I go back and rewatch Spider-Man 2 I'm like, oh, this sucks, I feel bad for him, and then when he dies in the end I'm like, oh no, I liked him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Spider-Man. Sorry, do you mind if I go for it?
Go for it.
I think with Spider-Man 2, it really. It amazingly focuses on all of its characters and kind of gives everybody an arc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
when he
Peter
starts
Parker.
losing his powers, I was like, oh, okay, they're doing this for
Yeah,
the sequel, but
but
it
it's-
works.
It really,
right?
yeah.
And I
They do
think
the Spider-Man
it's-
No More really well.
They do it so well with like when they return. So yeah, I think as I was saying, I think that with when his powers return, it's so well done and it's very impactful.
The triumphant
It's kind of not like, oh, somebody punches him, he's like, I'm strong now. It's well done in the fact that as he's kind of rejecting the emotions again and almost rejecting being Peter Parker in effect when he says, like, oh, no, I don't, like, it's like with Mary Jane and stuff. and she's like, one more kiss, and I think he's very conflicted himself.
Man, you're so plugged into this character.
And that's what kind of really triggers it back, and it's just like noise out of a spider sense, and like. I think that's so beautifully done.
I think I probably should have rewatched these for this.
I think you could almost argue.
I can't really remember them.
And this is just me personally, but I think you could argue that the danger he almost thinks he's perceiving is her coming in for a kiss.
Ooh.
You heard it here first.
You've heard it here. I've never heard that.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Nifty.
That's part of what I took it from.
Goddamn nifty.
And then he dodges the car, obviously. Only thing I have that's negative with that scene is that Dr. Octopus doesn't know he has his powers back and still crushes him under a ton of rubble.
Just throws a car at him
and crushes him under rubble. Like if he wasn't Spider-Man, he would just be dead.
He's kind of a dick.
So
think about it.
But yeah, but I just want to have a little add-on about that incident. Also, can I make a really quick addition?
Oh my god!
Why is Spider-Man so powerful in these films? He can stop trains. He falls about 500 feet.
Because he was bitten by a radioactive spider.
You've always gone on record saying that
Superman is the best
Superman's
hero in the
like your
world.
favourite thing ever.
Yeah, but like he's
And that guy
meant to be all
can
powerful.
move
Like Spider-Man's meant to be
solar
relatable and lift
systems.
like 10 tons. This dude's like, I stop trains, motherfucker. Like, I mean, I still love him, and he will always be my Spider-Man. But
Hashtag not my Spider-Man when they inevitably
Thanos did nothing wrong.
recast Tom Holland's Spider-Man as
Tom
Zac
Holland's
Efron.
my favourite. Because I'm a normie.
Well,
I guess.
let's move off the
Okay.
the best Spider-Man to...
I apologise if this lacks focus. We're just kind of doing whatever. So.
Yeah, this is just a bunch of film geeks talking, as you do. Let's move on to the best of the trilogies. No, that's the best of the trilogy of series. I don't know what I'm talking about. Amazing Spider-Man, ladies and gentlemen.
Which I enjoy the first Amazing Spider-Man. We did. We talked about it first.
We talked about it earlier.
We'll go
We
back to
talked about
Spider-Man.
Topher Grace. You don't need to... Spider-Man 3, all right. But Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. My God, Mark Webb. Could we just say the fact that they got a guy with the last name Webb to direct the Spider-Man movie?
He made 500 Days of Summer, which is over there. But
It sounds
I
like-
really like that film.
It sounds
haven't
like
seen it yet.
it sounds like that was just
Is it
like his entire like qualification for getting directed. It's like, oh, I want to direct a movie, Sony Pictures. Oh, what's his name? Mark Webb. Make him do Spider-Man.
Okay, look, I've only seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2 once.
What?
That classic movie.
Oh yes, right up
number
there.
1 on IMDb's top list.
Look, I went to see it at the cinema when it came out, so I was,
So did
I was a little bit younger. I loved it when I was 14, and I watched the
wasn't
first
my
one
guilty pleasure.
afterwards, and I don't mind the first one. It's fun for me, and I didn't Andrew Garfield. I like his Peter Parker because he was sort of the one I
Identified.
bonded with in the cinema.
I don't like him that much because he's already too cool.
I hate this. He's a punk kid. He's not the real Peter Parker.
He's not
Whatever.
Well, one of
he's
the
just kind of
the
kind of cool.
the whole point of Peter is his nerdy wish fulfillment. He's meant to be like a dork, a dweeb, a geek.
Yeah, I guess I don't have the connection to the comics that you
Yeah,
guys probably do.
You normie. Ah!
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I do
my
like
god! Look at that way you blew that
Garfield.
out.
Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry is
Very
easily
good.
the best thing about those movies.
Apart from like all the Twilighty moments in the second one.
Yeah.
Right? Like when he
But,
when he makes the thing out of the web on the bridge, and you're like. They put him
I
up
think-
and there's this horrible
like,
green
just
screen.
them talking to each other, they're just so cute. And like, there's in the
They
second
were dating
one.
in real life,
Yeah, not anymore.
which everyone
I
knows.
really like
Because he starved
Danger
himself.
Hands Green Goblin.
What is
Unpopular
wrong with you?
opinion.
Can we talk about Dane DeHaan for a second? Can we just derail for a second?
That's a lie.
Because the only time he's been good was in Chronicle, and I like Chronicle.
You just tickled my foot.
Sorry, man. I like Chronicle a lot. I think it's really good. I had a great experience when I watched it first, and I really loved it. And I've seen it since, and it's not as good, but I like it. But Dane DeHaan is cast well in that film, and cast well in. I think I've seen most of his other films. I watched Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Have you watched Cure
Jesus
for
Christ.
Wellness?
What a travesty!
Didn't
That
it have a
film
really
is-
good opening?
I haven't seen
what
A Cure for Wellness. No.
I was talking about
I've
Valerian.
I've seen.
Hang on, whoa, I saw what's that? I
I
was
heard-
saying Valerian's shocking, and just it's I mean, this is another podcast in itself because it's such a disaster. And I like Fifth Element, which is Luc Besson, and it's the same similar kind of energy. But Valerian was not good.
I heard that the opening to the Valerian starts out really well done. Or am I?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't at all.
Oh no. There's that montage bit.
No,
which is okay.
I
Actually,
don't like
Yeah,
that bit. But it's just got David Bowie going ground control.
No,
for
that was
5 minutes.
okay.
That's
And
a
then
good
fine.
song.
And then different
Hey.
people shaking someone's hand. Like, I want to see that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, but you
that
think Man of
works.
Steel is good?
It is good.
Okay, we'll get onto that in a minute. 'Cause we've got that. Look, with Valerian, he's so badly cast. It's ridiculous. He has to play this like cool guy, like and he puts on this horrible voice, so it's sort of become a joke with Matt.
Shout out to Matt.
Yeah.
It's like Cara Delevingne is not good in it either. She's like, Valerian, I can't be with you because you're uncommitted. And he's like, babe.
Yeah, he's like, it was different with them.
It's not with you, babe.
When you say it like that, I just imagine.
No, I'm not. He sounds like that.
He's like, your eyebrows are just so nice.
Oh yes, women and their sexy eyebrows.
Cara, I love your eyebrows.
Oh yes.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, Dane DeHaan's not a good actor. He just fit Chronicle, I guess.
He kind of looks like Harry a tiny bit.
Yep,
Yeah,
I've had that a lot.
You look like
Had
Dane
it a lot.
DeHaan,
I
just
got
like
stopped-
in the same way that I look like a very young, much younger Danny DeVito.
Crossed with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I was wearing sunglasses and headphones the other day, and I got stopped in the street, and someone said you look like Baby Driver. And I
But
was
you
like,
don't.
The character's not called Baby Driver.
You look nothing.
yeah, well, you know what? The
like
general
him.
audience doesn't know that,
You
and
look
you look nothing like
Absolutely
anyone.
I
nothing.
think Jacob looks a bit
You
like Tom
have
Holland.
blonde hair.
To
He is.
segue back.
He's a
Segue back,
brunette.
I do look a bit like Ben. Tom
He's the
Holland's,
brunette.
Tom Holland's face and my face are similar.
I mean, if I was to cut
A
off
little.
your face and put it on Tom Holland, there would be very minimal
Ask Harry.
change
Harry's seen it.
What?
Harry's seen the similarities, haven't
Yeah.
between you and Tom Holland. I do see it. Let's stop talking
Girls
about
love me.
celebrities.
Yeah, let's go back.
Let's stop talking
So,
about celebrities we look like.
I like the first Amazing Spider-Man film. I don't think it's super good.
It's not.
and
The lizard's face isn't long enough.
when the whole
He
stuff.
looks weird. He looks like a great. He looks like
mother.
yeah.
He's not alone.
No, all
so
the
weird.
stuff with Uncle Ben, I don't like. But
Remember, you gotta, Peter. You gotta. When you have these abilities,
to do things.
when you have-
it's your responsibility
when
to
you
do
have-
those things.
yeah, it's just say the fucking thing. Come
like,
on.
He's like, not a choice. Responsibility. and then Andrew Garfield just shatters a door.
It's like,
and
just-
leaves.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's all you have to say. You don't need to do a goddamn monologue about it.
Ben, calm down now.
No.
Calm down.
I'm the strongest.
I
brain on the
relate to
Eastern
Uncle
Seaboard.
Ben
Go to your
on
happy
an emotional level.
because his name's fucking Ben.
Yes.
I swore.
Oh no.
No,
I'm pretty
I
sure
think
we
the first one's super fun after you get out of
Past
all the stupid
everything.
dark stuff. Yeah.
The credits are my favorite part of the movie.
No, I think it's fun. I don't know. I have a connection to it, I suppose, from when I was younger, and I don't think it's a great film.
I
But
mean,
I can unwind.
Nostalgia's a powerful weapon.
I
Yeah, of
like
course.
the way that
Weapon.
that's Russia's new weapon. It's like we don't launch nukes, we launch
We just have nostalgia.
nostalgia.
Remember this, 90s kids? Oh my god, it's
Okay, I think
Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh my god, I loved it.
Right, we're not
It's
talking
so
about
good.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Okay, next episode.
slightly.
Talk about Dexter's Laboratory 'cause
Amazing
it's so
Spider-Man
good.
2 with Jamie Foxx as Electro. Wow, what a film. I give it a 10 out of
I love
10.
the bit when he gets electrocuted and his teeth turn white.
I actually have it on Blu-ray
So do I.
because it was in Poundland.
Oh,
I
of course
got it
was.
the day it came out from Sainsbury's because I was like, this film makes me.
I don't own it
My
because
Willy
I'm
Glue
not
came out.
mentally insane.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Well, but
Yeah.
both me and Ben are mentally ill. So.
Wow!
Heyo!
Heyo!
No, I keep saying look. That's so stupid.
Look,
It's your
I
thing.
am your dad.
The thing with the Amazing series is they were made so Marvel couldn't get the rights back. Why are you laughing?
My dad just texts me going, "Found this dead bee, bombus licorum," or something like.
Okay,
What?
cool.
So-
The thing, because the whole Marvel rights dispute, where Marvel,
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
really get
this
the
is old
rights
news
back.
now, but
those movies were made so Marvel can get the rights back, and so they feel like they were made just so no one really had a vision for
Like
them.
in the honest trailer by Screen Junkies, they even say.
Do they?
They even say,
Oh,
yeah, the movie that was only made so.
Well, that's what they did with Fantastic Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Is that they didn't? They
Oh,
weren't
like
even planning on making.
I went
They
to
weren't-
Fan Four Stick.
Not to talk about Fan Four Stick, but because they weren't planning to make a Fantastic Four film, but their deal
Yeah, but
was
they
running
needed
out.
because they didn't want to give. Yeah, because I think it's 6 years if whatever studio owns whatever characters, if they don't make a movie within 6 years or something, they
My mum said
the rights automatically go back to Marvel. I remember watching Fan Four Stick with a bunch of friends in the cinema.
I haven't seen it. I didn't want to.
I had to apologise to them because, my God, Fan Four Stick is the greatest film ever made.
So that's the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on that because we haven't spoken on it?
Yeah, I think with that film, I actually think the visuals are actually really lovely. Spider-Man swinging looks really great.
Yeah.
Electro, his design looks quite good,
with
and
the
he's very
blue-
visually striking.
Doesn't the movie open with Spider-Man falling down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like his suit's
Actually,
rippling.
no, it opens with a plane crash.
Okay. Oh, after
If
that.
we go
But
back,
like Spider-Man's suit's
if
all
we go back
rippling
to the
and
suit, I think the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is possibly the best.
It's really
suit.
good. I also don't mind
Which is
the
weird 'cause
Amazing
it's like-
Spider-Man 1
it's like
I mean,
suit.
I like pins, I
Worst.
like dinner jacket suit.
I can't get past the eyes. They look like I know they are, but I don't like the eyes in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit. They
No.
just look weird. I don't know what's about them.
I don't mind it.
He doesn't look like a Spider-Man. He looks like
It just it looks like they.
Flyman,
I don't know. It
which
just.
is an original name of Stan Lee's character Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, they were going to call him Flyman.
Steve
Were they
Ditko's
really?
dead, and he
Well-
created Spider-Man.
Don't they? No, they
Let's
Well,
have a
they
minute silence.
That wasn't a minute.
They have
Well-
the Beetle, don't they, as a
No,
Marvel
well,
character?
yeah.
I've played Lego Marvel superheroes.
But
so
the thing is,
Blue
with,
Beetle's DC.
no,
no,
the
not-
Beetle.
No, the Beetle.
The thing
Or
with
just Beetle. I
when
don't know.
Stan Lee
Anyway.
originally had before he created Spider-Man, he saw a fly crawling up on a wall, and he liked
Yeah.
the idea of that as a superpower
That's cool.
of a guy in a big city crawling on all the buildings.
And then he
And he
smashed the fly and was like,
No, I don't
money,
know.
money, money.
He wanted to call. He originally thought Flyman in his head, but he thought that sounded really dumb.
Nah, man fly.
There's a character in The Simpsons called the Human Fly, and yeah.
Do we like? Can we talk about Paul Giamatti as Rhino in the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Alexi Six Savage. Like,
I kind of.
Look. Okay. So I'm saying, look. I think the idea of Rhino. I know people would very heavily object to this, but the idea of Rhino being like a mech suit is kind of cool. To
I
me.
mean, if you look
I
at him
like
in the
it.
comic books, he's really dumb.
Oh, he's a
Like-
mutant, isn't he?
No, he's just
No.
some guy.
Not an X-Men mutant, but a
No,
No.
he
he's
he has superpowers.
he's just this. He gets
he-
given like a serum and then a suit on top of that, which
He
kind of
looks
makes him like.
really
So he puts the
stupid.
suit on.
No, so like he has like a serum which makes him
Yeah,
like 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he's like super strong, bulletproof, and then he puts on a suit to like enhance those powers further and give him.
But
a
the
horn.
suit looks really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got a little hole for his
but
face.
Yeah.
I would rather the mech suit from Amazing Spider-Man than what they gave us in the game. where
Really?
he was like a hybrid.
Oh, do you mean
That was
the
disgusting.
Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 2 game?
Yeah, I think the best looking
I didn't-
Rhino I've seen is it.
It's a good game.
I
Like,
mean-
Sorry, hang on. Which game?
Spider-Man 2?
The
It was
PS2.
like
I-
PS2,
No,
GameCube,
no,
Xbox.
Amazing Spider-Man.
I was going to say
the game Amazing Spider-Man.
I've
This
never
is, this
played
is
that.
kind of a tangent, but Spider-Man 2 for the PS2 is so good. I've got it right here. I'm looking at it right now. It is damn fun.
Yeah, with
Anyway, I
with
didn't play the Amazing Spider-Man ones. You're right.
My hair got a knot. I'm not a woman. Sorry. I think. I mean, and I'm sure that the people who are listening, probably none of you.
All two of you.
I mean, have seen
All one.
have seen the Spider-Man trailer for the new game released at E3 and things. I think
oh.
Yeah,
the
what he looks
Rhino
like
in
in
that
that.
looks very good to me.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
It kind of get he doesn't look like a bloody transformer
No,
like he
he's
does
like
in Amazing.
he
2.
looks like the comics enough, but with like a mechanical
He doesn't
kind of.
look stupid.
No, but like he has like a twist on him, like a more mechanical twist.
Yeah,
that kind of makes it
What do we
more
think?
applicable to now.
Just as a tangent before we go into Homecoming and wrap it up.
Coming.
What do we think of?
I love awkward
Yeah.
silences.
What did we think of the trailer for the PS4 Spider-Man game?
Yeah, looks pretty hype. I've always been someone who said, "Hey, you see these Arkham games? Why don't we just do this,
For everything.
but with Spider-Man?"
I
And it kind of looks like they've taken a lot of inspiration.
Yeah.
What with the combat.
I don't
like the
really
trailer.
like Arkham Combat very much.
Really? Okay,
It-
here we go.
Unless it's done super well, like in Arkham, and it really flows. But there's
Okay.
I've had played so much stuff where it
Like?
they're just like, oh, you press square and then you triangle when someone
Yeah.
counters you, and it's so awkward.
I think.
For
I
example,
feel like it don't. I feel like it's not.
Matt, did you play Mad Max?
Yes.
I have played
The
it.
new
It's
one.
really awkward and slow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like with Batman though, like he's flipping around. We've got a bloody cape on.
He's like a goddamn
like
bal-
I'm saying with
ballerina.
Spider-Man, he can just flip around. He's super agile. But like with Mad Max, he's not going to be like.
Yeah, you're not going to see Mad Max.
I'm Mel Gibson and Tom
To
Hardy.
talk about this, to talk about Spider-Man 2 again, the web slinging in that is perfect. There's so
Game?
yeah, for the PS2.
No, the movie.
The momentum it carries is great, and there's been so many people, speaking out about how Spider-Man games since then have not done momentum, and I think Insomniac, who are making the new one, were like,
They have said
we
that
have to focus on. Yeah, well, they've
They
said.
have said that
very
they're
keenly.
being inspired by Spider-Man 2.
But
so-
I'm worried. You watch the gameplay, and it just looks like it plays itself, and you press a bunch of buttons, and it's so fast, and you're like,
Yeah. I get what you mean.
I don't know.
This
I'm
is not-
worried,
this is
but
a-
it'll be fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I
this is...
think trailer-wise, like it looks very nice and it
does
looks
look nice.
fun to play. But I feel like This is like just me personally. But like the game might look nice, but until I've played it, I can't really make a proper.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of a game, isn't it?
Okay,
It's
sorry,
interact.
guys.
No,
Well,
it wasn't.
But you could say all this talk about video games isn't making me feel very good. So let's move on to the.
Sorry, Ben.
Nice segue there, Ben.
Tom Holland. I'm the king of
Okay.
segues.
So we're not. I don't think we're going to get too much into the MCU because I don't think we can add anything.
I mean, I'd like
There's-
to talk about it, but
We could talk about it, but there's
That's
just not a lot
just
we can
me.
add.
Okay.
I think
We've
like,
got time, but not really.
mean,
but it doesn't matter if we overrun.
Spider-Man
We'll just keep
Homecoming.
going.
with Vulture is probably my favorite MCU villain.
I think he's after
Well, 'cause
Thanos.
he's the only
I
one
agree.
that's kind of good, apart from Thanos.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Thanos is
Thanos
my
is Thanos.
favourite.
Loki's alright.
But
He's not really villain anymore, is he?
Yeah, I suppose.
I've
Nah,
always
Whiplash,
been-
guys.
I'm not
What
super
about
keen on
Killmonger?
Marvel films. Ben and Jacob are.
I mean,
I think
like,
it's
I
gonna
can
kind of
admit
become
that Age of
comics and
Ultron was trash.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
No, it was terrible.
It's not. It's not.
They
terrible.
ruined my favourite comic book villain. I'm
Is
mad.
that Ultron?
Yeah. Wow. How'd you guess?
Okay.
It's not like he's named after the movie.
I love Homecoming.
It's a good movie. Great.
Yeah,
Love? No,
I'm-
probably not love.
I
really like it.
Tom.
give it like a 7 out of 10. If I
Really?
I'd also give it a 7 out of 10.
6.5, maybe 7. Like
Wow.
7.
Edgy.
like I think like people's out of 10s are different. Like my 7 out of 10
The
I
way
think is
that-
lower.
Well, a
than
7
that.
out of 10 means a million different things to a million different people.
But to me, that's pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Like 5 is. It's okay. 6
I would
is,
imagine
yeah,
it-
that was good, and then 7's like, yeah, pretty good. That, yeah, I'd watch that again. Like,
Yeah, a 7 for me is what I want every
I just
Film to be
every film to be. It's
at minimum, or
yeah. Well, I mean, if it's an 8, 9, 10, like
Emoji
amazing.
movie,
but
that reached it.
The
but-
Shape of Water.
a 7's,
like
a
The
7's
Shape of
just
Water.
like super solid, and I just really like
I
it.
think with Spider-Man: Homecoming, like I think for me, and this is just me personally, because I'm so attached to Tobey Maguire, I struggle to kind of segue onto like other people.
I guess
You're
so.
like, I
And
can't move
I
on.
find Tom Holland's voice annoying.
I get you.
No,
I mean, I'm sure
I
you're going to
really
listen to
don't.
this podcast and listen to us three and be like,
Yeah, that's
you
gonna be
two,
ironic
we three
coming from
sound like
I-
twats.
Honestly, I think one of the best parts of Homecoming was the little quips that Tom Holland did. He's
like
so
that, like that one he made about Uncle Ben being murdered by a
What?
No, that didn't
No, it's
happen.
like it's just like how he calls, like when he names Karen, and I don't know. It's so much fun, and I love. The,
Okay, like literally 90% of
guys aren't
Marvel
the
jokes are just
Avengers?
renaming something. So like in Infinity War, they're like, "Ha, Groot is now called Tree. Star-Lord's now called Flash Gordon. Ha, Thanos is
I
now
never-
Grimace." Like every joke.
I never
It's just-
noticed that,
it's
but
just
I
like
guess
every-
so.
every
I
joke
mean,
is just
like,
like names.
comparing Thanos to Grimace, I found pretty fun. I was making that comparison before the movie
I didn't
came
find
out.
Who's
it funny
Grimace?
because I don't know who
He's the
Grimace is.
McDonald. You know the McDonald's mascots.
Oh.
You've got like Ronald
Nope.
McDonald. You've got the Hamburglar. You've got I think her name's
Hamburglar?
Yeah.
What?
You don't know what McDonald's
Asperger's.
mascot?
Google
You've
the
got Ronald
Hamburglar.
McDonald, Birdie, Grimace, and the Hamburglar, and they were. Well, I don't remember. I think they were an 80s, 90s thing where they were just mascots for McDonald's. Grimace was this giant purple man, and
Oh
he
my
looked
God.
terrifying.
Right, I'm going to put up an image of the Hamburglar now in
Yeah,
post.
he's actually
If you're listening to
amazing.
this, then
he
you can't see it,
stole
but-
all the hamburgers and the McNuggets.
That's Grimace.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nothing
can you
like Thanos.
can
Yeah,
you
I
see how he looks exactly like Thanos?
can't. He's just purple.
exactly.
That's like saying, "Oh yeah, Grass is purple.
Barney the dinosaur.
Nicole Kidman looks just like that. Okay, Vulture is probably my favourite MC villain. I think he's done perfectly.
Michael Keaton is a good boy.
Michael
Do you
Keaton
feel like
is
his
creepier.
motivation was underdeveloped?
No,
I do.
I don't, because I think he's not
It's
like Dr.
bully.
Octopus. He's very sympathetic. Like
No.
there was a lot of times I was kind of
wouldn't
rooting for
say
him
he's
to win.
as
I was like, kill Spider-Man.
I
think
wouldn't say he's sympathetic as Doc Ock. He has a believable motive. You're like, oh yeah, I get why this guy is how he is.
I hate that in villains. This is something really annoys me is when people think that a good villain is when you.
No,
you see
that doesn't make a good villain. I'm just saying that it's one of the aspects to
Okay.
any character, really, just their motive. And with Vulture, you get that, and it's just like another step on the road to him being a good character.
First of all, to clarify what I was saying, it's great to understand a villain and for them to feel sympathetic, but I feel like there's like you see a villain and you're like, oh yeah, I get where he's coming from, therefore he's a good villain. And you see that in MCU, the villains have been so shocking that I feel like Vulture, who's like fine, and I understood, and I wouldn't say I liked as a character, but I kind of respected the character for what he was trying to do. Is like he's a fine villain. He's
I
not
really
one of my
like his
favourites.
look as well. His character design.
They made the Vulture look intimidating.
I mean,
How do you do that?
Give him
right,
a helmet.
I've never read comics, but I have played Spider-Man Run on my phone, and that
Wow.
has Vulture in it, and he
Goddamn
looks
normies.
stupid. But in Homecoming, he's this awesome.
He looks scary. He like
The eyes.
If
He
you were
doesn't-
walking down the
yeah.
street and you saw him, you'd be running the other way.
Not me, because I'm a bad. No,
You're
I
a
think-
bad
I
boy.
think with Vulture as well. Like I think like power levels or what. Like I don't know. This is like not like everything, but I think that they got it like quite well because like he was experienced and like.
Sorry, is this Vulture?
So, yeah. So he was sorry. So is that what I said?
He's an old.
No, I'm not paying
So- so-
attention.
yeah, he was very
To
he's
be
very
honest.
experienced and like he's adult. He's experienced in the suit. And he beats the shit out of Spider-Man most times they meet. I think that's very well done because it's not saying Spider-Man can overpower. Do you know what I mean? Like, but like, I mean,
Yeah.
he does get beaten. That's more because of his own fault.
And this is what I want to stem from your point, how you were saying about Vulture's almost on equal playing field to Spider-Man in terms of power. This is kind of what I want the Homecoming, well, supposed trilogy, but they're definitely going to be two.
Isn't Jake Gyllenhaal playing Mysterio?
Yeah, but
I like Mysterio. I've
I
always
really
wanted to
want
see
the
him in a movie.
Homecoming films to just be, I wonder what villain Spider-Man's going to take on this time.
Kind
And
of like what's this week's villain gonna be?
Kind
Like
of,
a
yeah.
that's really comic booky.
yeah,
really.
not. Oh my god! The new Spider-Man sequel's going to tie into the MCU,
Yeah,
and there's going to be
it's-
4 villains, and it's all going to come. Like, I just want a fun little, small
You
scale.
don't want it to be like, oh, this entire time Kingpin hired Chameleon to steal stuff from Doc Ock, which will be explained in the next 5 movies.
No,
yeah,
I want it to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get.
I hope
You
you
just
know what I
want
mean.
kind of like, oh, who's robbing the bank today?
I guess
It's
so.
Big Wheel.
And that's the looter.
And to talk about now, so we all like Homecoming, generally.
Yeah,
I think it's super
I
charming.
don't actually think any of those 6 Spider-Man movies are bad.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's good. It's just
I agree with Jacob.
it's just mediocre.
I'm going to be honest with you. But
I'm
I am
leaving the
going off-
podcast.
Thank God.
I've only seen it once, and it was when I was much younger. So
Yeah.
take my opinion with a grain
Rewatch
of
it.
salt on
Actually,
that
don't
film, but-
rewatch it. I'll save you a lot of pain.
Mm.
But
But-
let's talk about the real MVP. 1970s Japanese exclusive Spider-Man.
Should we watch it? Should we watch that later?
Have you
Kinda
not
super
seen
wanna
it?
see that, no.
It is. It's
What's
an.
this?
It's a
Anyway.
religious
Anyway.
experience.
What do we want to see?
The Japanese
the
Spider-Man.
1970 Japanese Spider-Man is.
I'm going to find.
He shoots rope out of his like. It
Right.
doesn't. It just looks like white. He has a goddamn Zord from the Power Rangers. It's amazing.
It's pretty cool. To talk about the Homecoming sequel, and it kind of seems like he's going
Far
to
From Home?
London.
That's-
Yeah, I
yeah.
hate the name.
Really?
To be honest, I
Eh.
mean, okay,
At
no,
least
sorry, I
it,
shouldn't
like-
have hate. Shouldn't have said hate, but Spider-Man Field Trip was much cooler to me. I don't know. Homecoming.
I
Field-
mean, like-
Spider-Man, Tom Holland's voice annoys me.
I think it's interesting. Do you think all the 3 Homecoming films are going to have like home in the title?
I imagine
To,
if
like,
I
have a
imagine.
through line?
Yeah, imagine. I was imagining.
Wow, that was bad.
That
That was
was-
super bad.
Can we get Jacob off the podcast?
Next episode, it's just me and Ben.
Yeah, it's just me
No,
and
it's
Ben.
just,
We'll
Harry,
invite.
because Ben said he's leaving.
Oh yeah, I'm leaving. Next episode, it's just Harry. By the end of this first episode, we were down to 1 member.
I was talking to Callum.
Callum, yeah.
We love Callum.
Shout out to
Callum.
my mate.
Callum!
We love him.
Mm.
About-
Electric Milk.
If I just talk on
Wonderful
this for a
band.
second, was talking to him about it, and like I was saying, I really want it to be small scale and sort of villain based.
Yeah.
Mysterio is great because we haven't seen him on screen yet, and I think Jake
Mysterio.
Gyllenhaal is.
Mysterio.
Jake Gyllenhaal's a great actor. And I think he can definitely do it. He can do the
Fishbowl.
pathetic. Have you guys seen Nocturnal Animals?
Yes.
No,
sorry, no.
I haven't seen any movie. No, I haven't seen that.
It's super good, and he's kind of becomes really pathetic in it.
And you think that would be good with like Mysterio?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like
because he's
it
meant
would
to be
really
like
work.
a disgruntled special effects guy.
Well, have you
Yeah.
going back to Spider-Man 2?
He's kind of whiny and
He's
and
one of
petulant,
the
right?
he's one of the villains. In
I'm Mysterio.
All right,
Yeah.
shush. He was one of the villains of Spider-Man 2, and there's this part where like you think there's gonna be a big boss fight, but you just kind of go up to him and punch him, and then you beat him.
Watch Mr.
Yeah.
Watch Mr. Sunday's movie. Who should no?
Why are
Gubbs-
we-
Sorry. Watch Gubbs' video on YouTube.
Why
Okay.
are we calling out other YouTubers?
Watch Gubbs'
who are
video.
way more
Casting
successful?
the Spider-Man villains, and then find the Mysterio bit, and you'll see the clip. He goes, "I am Mysterio." He just gets
Okay.
punched once and-
Cool. What a meme.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, it won't be small scale probably because he's in London and it's Mysterio. But they could do some really interesting things with the set pieces, and to not make it super hectic. But imagine Mysterio conjuring up like a dinosaur and all this stuff that Spider-Man
also-
has to deal with in the city. It'd be
Sorry,
really cool.
Quick thing.
That would be
I'm
cool.
really glad
That
in
you could have a
Spider-Man
lot of fun with
in
that.
Spider-Man: Homecoming, they weren't like world-level threats.
Yeah, it was a really
Well,
relatively
exactly, yeah.
small scale.
And also, I think we mentioned it earlier, but and how they like incorporate so many little villains. That was like so you had like the Tinkerer in there. You had Shocker. You had two Shockers actually.
Well,
Vulture,
yeah, but
like-
those weren't the main
and-
pieces. They were just kind of goons.
Yeah, but I like
just
it when
with
they do that. Though.
special names.
You know the guy he interviews in Homecoming, Donald Glover.
Donald Glover's character. He doesn't
He's-
interviews him. He interrogates him.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I love Charles Gambino. I was gonna say it right now.
This is America.
Shout out to my boy.
Shout out to my boy Donald Glover.
I'm gonna cut that out.
If he's
Shout out
hearing
to Han
this,
Solo.
oh yeah,
no,
Lando
but
Calrissian.
he's obviously Miles Morales' uncle, right?
Yeah.
But he's also the Prowler,
Yeah.
which I didn't realise.
Wow, it's
which is
almost
really cool.
like the
That's why
Prowler's
he's
going
that's
to
why
be.
he's like, you got climbers. When they're like, you
Have
have
you-
climbers, you got climbers.
Have you? Wait, why are we missing out into the Spider-Verse? Because
I forgot we could talk about that. Oh my god, it looks so good.
It
I'm
looks,
so excited.
Oh
So
my god.
So Chris McKay wrote it. Who wrote the Lego Movie? It's one of my favourite movies. I can't wait. It looks great. I
It
can't wait.
looks. I just saw.
Super excited.
I remember I saw the thing where he was walking and it had the comic, speech bubble, not speech bubbles, exposition bubble.
Like the little
bubbles.
speech section.
It's the bit where he's swinging through New York, right? And he's jumping between cars and he puts his foot on a taxi, and as his foot hits it,
Yes.
the animation sort of flashes to comic, but it just looks gorgeous
It looks.
and really funny.
But it's
and-
coming
and
from Sony Pictures, so
It
it's.
doesn't matter. I think with the time, animation wise, it looks great. I mean the plot. I really
Emoji
again, I, have to
movie.
say, I really trust Chris McKay as a writer. I think he could really deliver a really.
I think the visuals look beautiful. Other than that, I don't really have much to comment on it because
It just looks good. Hoping it's good. We're gonna come back in like 5 months and realize it was the worst thing since the
We'll
Amazing
review
Spider-Man
it on
2.
the podcast if we're still doing
wow,
this by
I
that
think
time.
we should probably now. Move
Yeah,
on to our next
I mean, do
topic.
you guys then
Wait,
have any?
I can think of a segue for the topic.
No, we don't need to segue. I'm just saying.
I'm segueing.
what's
I
your-
really
what's
need the toilet, so I'm going to.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay,
Okay, well, what's your
yeah. Does anyone have any closing thoughts? I don't.
It's with
The
Spider-Man,
range
he
got so many quotes, like,
Tom Tom Holland kind of sounds like Tom Hardy, doesn't it? And Tom Hardy was
No,
in
no.
The
Well,
Revenant,
the name.
and The Revenant was nominated for Best Actor. So was The Martian, which
The
had
Revenant's
Matt
great.
Damon. Matt
Martian's not so
Damon
great.
is best friends with Ben Affleck, who was in a Zack Snyder movie. Oh, look at that segue! I'm the king! Whoa!
Okay.
should we talk about Zack Snyder now, guys?
Yeah. So we're going to move on. Our next topic is Zack Snyder as a director. So we're going to sort of try and cover all of his films.
Turkish
just before we go
Airlines.
into it, I think we're mainly going to talk about his DC stuff, but we're also going to cover some of his early work. So for
Okay.
homework,
Yeah, you made me watch Dawn of the Dead, so...
yeah.
Um,
Well, I had to watch Sucker Punch.
I mean,
so
Dawn of the
I
Dead-
rewatched Watchmen, which I loved.
But
so
when
okay.
I watched Dawn of the Dead, I couldn't just watch it, so I had to watch the original, which I
Yeah.
think was a lot better. And
is that the George?
the George Romero one, it's a very fun George Romero zombie flick.
So I'm not super keen on Zack Snyder. I think Jacob, you quite like him.
I do because I like a lot of his work.
Actually, sorry for those who aren't familiar with Zack Snyder, he
Who isn't familiar with Zack Snyder who would
What?
be watching this podcast that isn't my mother? Hi, Mum. That's like the second time.
Yeah,
that's kinda like-
He helmed the DC universe, so he directed Man of Steel,
Batman v Superman.
And half of Justice League.
half of Justice,
Well,
which
then-
we'll get to. We'll get to that,
And
but
he produced
the other ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did.
He
produce
didn't.
Wonder
He
Woman.
wasn't involved in Suicide Squad.
Thank God.
Wasn't
Actually,
No.
wait.
I thought he was.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's
Okay.
Zack Snyder bad, and then there's Suicide Squad
And then
bad.
and he also directed Watchmen, 300.
That is true. He did
Yeah.
direct Watchmen.
Dawn of the Dead, Sucker Punch, and the Owl
The
movie.
Guardians of
Guardians of
Gahul.
which none of us have seen.
I've
have.
seen it.
Jake,
I've seen
I
it.
haven't seen it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
well,
is-
should we go through then? So Ben, you tell us about your experience because
Dawn of the Dead.
before you start talking, Dawn of the Dead is a reboot of the George A.
Remake.
Romero
Remake.
Oh
yeah,
God, what's
well,
it?
the thing.
Oh
'cause
God,
Yeah.
Harry,
it's
happening.
The thing with
So he rebooted it in 2004, and it was his first feature film. So you just talk about your experience with it.
Well, the thing, it was weird because the original Dawn of the Dead opens with the zombie apocalypse already starting because it is in fact a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Is it
Yeah, they're not like direct sequels. They don't have the same characters, but they are
like a spiritual
all that-
successor,
no, it's
or in the same universe?
yeah,
or-
it's
right.
that. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead are all with it. They're a trilogy.
Are they all directed by Romero?
Yep, all of them directed by Romero, and
We're
they
talking
all
about the
have
originals now.
Sam Zemeckis, I think that's his name, as the gore guy who did all the
Right.
practical effects. And the Zack Snyder movie didn't have that kind of jumping off point, so they are very different films. They are.
We'll talk about the Zack Snyder one
if
specifically
it
because
wasn't for the fact that it's a zombie movie based in a mall, and it has a guy named Steven, then they would be totally different movies. They are in no way similar. It's quite weird. Like, the original has 4 characters that you follow, you get to learn. The Zack Snyder version has a lot more, to the extent where you don't really know or care about these people at all.
But what is
and
it? But like,
okay,
what about the film though?
outside of comparison, just talk about
The film. Okay,
Zack Snyder's 2004.
it's
attempt.
stupid. It's really dumb.
Oh, really? I've heard good things.
But
honestly,
it's fun dumb.
okay.
Like, there are bits where it's just like, this is just stupid, like, really, really dumb, but it's it's kind of like a So Bad It's Good movie. I wouldn't call it So Bad It's Good, but there are moments in it where it's just like, you have a good laugh, like, what were they thinking?
Right.
It has like they're on the roof and they're like sniping people and they're like,
Yeah.
"Who's that guy?" Like,
Yeah,
can
get
I-
the
can
guy
I-
that looks like,
Can I borrow your phone, Ben?
Jared Leto.
Thank you.
No, Jay Leto, not Jared. And there's a oh, sorry, I'm getting derailed. There's this one bit that I found really weird where this guy, he shoots a shotgun. And he's been shooting the shotgun throughout the entire movie. But for some reason the movie decides, hey, let's do a slow-mo shot right now of the shell coming out. And it's so out of place and makes
Right.
absolutely no sense.
And
And it's just slow-mo porn. That's all it is.
To
and the
link it
movie's full
to
of
kind of an overall thing, Zack Snyder really likes the slow motion.
Yeah, he's a slow-mo...
I think
God.
his cinematography is
Yeah.
actually beautiful. A lot of
He
it.
does-
I love.
I wouldn't
I
call it
love
beautiful,
some
to
of
be
his
honest.
filming.
I
Some of
mean-
his shots are.
Yeah.
It does...
Right.
Dawn of the Dead does feel like a Zack Snyder film.
Because of comic book wise, like just sorry.
The way that he did stuff like Watchmen.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
I would say in Batman v Superman,
Oh, God.
there's a shot where Batman he's trying to escape Doomsday's laser blasts.
Laser
And
beams.
he's there.
Is that the one
And-
where he gets like
yeah.
the bat claw and he...
Yeah, and a lightning blast strikes
Yeah.
as he's hanging on, which is like so similar and so well done to the Dark Knight Returns comic.
Wow, it's a reference, therefore it's instantly
Oh
good.
my
I
God,
didn't-
Ben,
I
that
didn't say-
looks so bad on the screen.
I didn't say that. I just said it's very well shot.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Well,
very, and it's a very it's
Batman
very
vs Superman is trash.
I think
I like it.
Fight me.
A lot of people.
Okay, I will.
No, don't please. You'll
Yeah.
kick my ass.
just to, I think a lot there's kind of two camps with Zack Snyder. People really don't like him, and then there are the defenders.
I'm
I
I'm a defender.
I'm a bit of a
Thanks.
middleman. I think he is I would call him an auteur in every sense of the word because he
For those of you,
Really?
for those-
Yeah,
for those
he
of you
has-
that
he
don't
has
know,
a
an
dis-
auteur is somebody that
Yeah,
has a
everyone
body of
knows
work
what
and a
a-
distinct style.
he
I
does
disagree.
He does
do.
have quite a distinct style. When you are watching a Zack Snyder movie, you're like, oh, this is one of the Turkish Airlines guy. You know him. He really does. He makes his films in a way that makes them unique, and it's questionable. One of the weaknesses of auteur
don't-
theory is that people like Snyder and Michael Bay, that people that make films that are of lower quality can be considered on the same level as people like Kubrick and Hitchcock. That's one of the weaknesses
like
of the
Hitchcock.
auteur
No,
theory.
I don't think. I don't think. I don't think objective quality is really something. I don't agree with objective quality with films. So I think the auteur theory is interesting. I don't think. I don't know.
You don't think Snyder should be an auteur?
I don't think so. I don't think has he. I'm not familiar with the auteur theory, but it's my understanding that there are people who push the medium, and they
They have their own style. Basically. They have a clear cinematic style that is in basically all of their movies. And for Snyder, it is.
Isn't that everyone?
Pardon?
No,
Doesn't
because
everyone
then
have
you have
everyone
people-
has a style?
You have people like Todd Howard. What's
the
Todd Howard's style?
Bethesda guy?
No, Ron Howard. God damn it!
Okay, fine. Just
Ron
okay,
Howard.
Okay,
Ron Howard has a style, I guess.
Let's say the Russo brothers or Joss Whedon. They were like MCU directors. There's no the specific thing that they do every time.
Joss
makes
Whedon's
Zack
good with ensemble.
What makes Zack Snyder an auteur over the Russo brothers?
It's
because
Zack
the Russo brothers
Snyder's.
doesn't have a signature.
When you watch a Russo brothers movie, you don't instantly think in your head,
Yeah,
look, it's a Russo
if you
brothers
said to
movie.
me,
I am
that's
kind of
Joss Whedon,
I'm
then
just
I'd
kind
be
of playing
like,
devil's advocate here.
Okay.
If you
I
said to me that's
understand.
Joss Whedon, I'd be like, okay,
Cool.
Okay, yeah, okay.
but like if you show me the beginning of Watchmen with a slow-mo gunshot and then a close-up shot of a hand and then a wide shot of something beat, like I'm like that's
Yeah, you can
I think-
tell that's Zack Snyder.
I think Ryan Johnson's probably good because
Good
I like
non-auteur.
I like his movies. But for example, I don't know. I like Looper a lot.
Okay.
I don't know a lot. I like
like
Looper.
Bruce Willis shoots himself.
no.
Wow, just spoiled Looper. I'm gonna have to.
I said we were going to spoil like every
Oh
movie
no, he doesn't
we
shoot.
talk about.
Actually, that's not a spoiler because it doesn't happen. Or is that a spoiler in itself? That's
Wow, it's almost like the movie's about time
Hashtag
travel.
we're stupid.
like I like Looper, but
Cool.
I wouldn't watch Looper not knowing anything about it and think, oh, that's the same guy as Brick. Or watch The Last Jedi and think, oh, that's the same
Quick
guy
segue,
as...
Brick is the
as
name of a
Looper.
new hero from The Incredibles 2.
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay. We're not going to go into that.
That's
Anyway,
fun.
I think the people that don't like Zack Snyder, the kind of the overarching kind of criticism, right, is that it's all style and no substance.
Yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah,
deal.
IQs are lower than 10.
Do you guys know?
so-
Are you guys
style-
familiar with Mark Kermode? The film critic?
Narcomode. I've heard of him.
Mark Kermode.
Gummode.
Markamode.
Marcomode.
I haven't known.
Oh yes.
He always talks about Zack Snyder as making costume movies.
Yeah,
So he just like he reads 300, which was a comic book, wasn't it? And he
Frank
just,
Miller
he just thinks,
comic book.
He just thinks, oh, these guys look cool in costumes. I'm going to make a movie about people in costumes doing things in costumes. I don't know if I agree with that, but I think it's an interesting thing to throw out.
The style over substance thing, it really does define Snyder as a filmmaker.
And you can praise him for that, I
He
think,
is, yeah,
because his style is.
he does a really
Pretty
unique
out
style.
there.
It's just he has
Not
no real
out there.
substance to his movies.
Can I add something?
But I would
Go
still
for
argue
it.
that Snyder has made
Okay, or
some
not.
good films. 300 is
Such
not
as. I really. Okay, now.
Can
I
we
know.
go through in chronological order, actually, before you talk about Man of Steel? Before we do that, the next film he made after Dawn of the Dead in 2004 was
300 or
300 in 2006.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Okay,
You guys have?
Yep, I've seen
I
300.
like
Go ahead,
300.
guys.
I think.
Let's let Jacob lead this. 'cause
Yeah.
he's done Dawn of the Dead.
It's very. Similar to the comic again in many aspects, and I think.
Have you
I think,
read
I think,
the Frank Miller?
I have. Yeah.
I haven't.
I think it's. I think, and again, that's something that he really excels in. Is that he's able. He's very similar to the comic. Like he excels in being able to transfer page to screen.
And just to, because Ben you were saying that his movies are beautiful, and from clips of 300, I really do think it's quite a cool
It's
looking
a very
movie.
visually
I
interesting.
mean,
it's
it is-
incredibly
it is-
stylized.
It's coated in CGI, but it kind of works. It's all
stylised,
bronze,
yeah.
right?
But like that's like
It
that,
feels
the
like
whole
epic
movie's
fantasy.
got like a little almost golden
Orangey
frame
tint
on it.
Yeah, it's got that
Um,
tintedness to it.
I mean, this is a
It's-
total curveball, but the game Deus Ex is also Human Revolution is also like
What
that.
Deus?
yeah, Deus Ex.
I like those games.
I think
I've
with
never played
with
them.
300,
They're good.
it plays off of the fact, like Zack Snyder plays with the fact that it is just a bit stupid. And
Yeah.
right.
Well, it's a
like
bunch
at
of
one point, like
Sweaty
there's like
butch
there's
dudes
like
camping in the mountains.
a giant with jewelry. There's like Quasimodo turns up. Like
Wait, really?
kind of.
One of the
There's-
characters is a hunchback.
There's
Um,
there's kind of like a troll dude in it who
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't really die.
Isn't there like an elephant that's like kaiju sized or something? I haven't seen 300 in ages.
Anyway, there was a sequel to 300 called 300 Rise of an Empire, which he didn't direct.
No.
But he
Okay,
wrote-
so
he
we're not
wrote the
talking about it good.
I think he has storytelling credit though.
I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
I'm not sure.
Let's
sorry,
skip
go-
over
go
that
on,
and
Jake.
talk about
but with
Owls of
300,
Gahul.
I think the fight choreography is actually quite well done.
There's that shot
Personally, like
with the dude. Sorry to interrupt you again, but there's that shot. There's that shot.
300 on the tally. Like
There's that hot. There's that
Wait.
shot with what's his name? Just that soldier, and it's like the one shot of him running through the battle. And he's like
Leonidas.
lifts with his. No, not Leonidas. I don't remember. It's a good shot. Keep
Leonidas
going.
was the
I'm
name
sorry,
of
that
the-
was a really
The
bad.
Bakugan in the Bakugan DS game.
Anyway, so with 300.
Anyway. Later.
Yeah, like I think the action is done very well. The slow mo is incorporated nicely. These
There is
people
a
don't
lot of
come across
slow-mo.
as idiots. Like they come across as people with tactical knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, because they're Spartans.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Yeah, but like it's
in
very
reality-
easy. It's very easy in a film though, like where they have to lose. Spoiler alert, for them to be like,
But they-
"Oh, let's go into the open and die." Like, but no.
Right.
We'll
Well,
let them come into the past.
I
Like,
wouldn't
like there's like tactical things.
I
in
don't
this
think that
show.
can be attributed to Snyder because, as you said before, it's based on a comic book which is loosely based on real life events that occurred in ancient Greece.
300 people could not take on like 10,000.
No, because in real
Unless
life,
it
Whether-
was- unless
I thought
it
the
was-
movie was set in 300, or is that
no,
No,
people?
it's 300 Spartans.
It's
Oh.
300
the original
Spartans.
the original battle had like 300 Spartans versus 1,000.
When was ancient? Was it
Persians?
ancient Greece like the 800s? I
Eight-
want to
no,
do history at university. This is looking good,
No,
isn't
it was in the BCs.
Oh,
Yeah, you
Oh,
are
dear.
way off.
I'm quite tired.
Everyone keeps interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Keep going.
Let's just let Jacob talk by himself.
This
for a
is the
minute.
Jacob
Nah,
podcast.
I'm going to talk about Man of Steel later, so let's go.
Okay.
You're gonna
So
have a field trip with that one.
after 300, he made the Owl movie, which I don't really want to talk about.
Out of Gahoo!
There were two of them, right? But he didn't make the second
Was there
one.
a second one?
Yeah, there
Right.
was.
What?
Say,
There was a second.
Can you Google it?
I
don't know.
really like the way he directs it because the eagles look really hot. And I just wanna
Are you
Oh, God,
admitting
okay.
to bestiality?
moving on. moving on.
I'm just looking at the computer and the waves on Audacity. They're really spiking.
Audacity.
Sorry about
That's
that.
because we were talking about
let's move
Owls
on.
of Gahul.
After the Owls movie, they made.
There is not an Owls of Gahul 2.
Oh, sorry.
There's apparently talks.
False.
There's
That's good. They should use that.
You got my hopes up, Harry. I'm so
That should
disappointed.
have been the name for the podcast. The Hours of
Yeah.
Gahoo.
Do you guys just quickly? Do you guys like the Owl movie? Yes or no?
No.
It's kind of dumb.
But
I'm just doing
Okay.
it. I'm just doing it. I'm doing the meme. You know, it's like.
It's like sympathetic owl flying through fire, going.
Sounds awesome. I don't know what you guys are complaining about.
Harry just looked at me and got scared. Moving
So after that, he made
Bit of
Sucker Punch in 2011.
on. Let's let
I
Harry
want to
talk about
sucker
this.
punch
punch that movie off a cliff.
Have you guys seen it?
No, I just.
Okay.
I
Well,
just wanted to.
I
say
watched
that.
it. I watched it last night for homework. It is bizarre. I'm gonna. Can I spoil it? I'm gonna
Yes.
spoil it.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking, oh gosh, he's gonna spoil it, it doesn't matter. You're gonna hate the film. I don't know who it's for.
It's not worth
At all.
spoiling. Wasn't it like Zack Snyder's passion project?
Yep.
Oh,
So
we know who it was for.
Prior to that, he hadn't written any of his scripts.
But he was like, oh,
I just realised actually we skipped Watchmen because that was 2009. But we'll come
Oh,
back to it.
Watchmen's an interesting
Um,
one. That can connect to the DC movie.
Yeah, Sucker Punch was the first time he directed an original script. Which, you know.
It shows.
Hey Zach, maybe you should stick to other people's ideas. No, it's if you don't know what Sucker Punch is, this 20-year-old orphan. So she's an orphan and she's 20, but she's still living in the orphanage.
That makes sense.
Which is super weird, and they stress the fact she's 20. It's weird, but her mother dies, and it's the stepfather or something. And she gets and she accidentally kills her sister in a flurry, and she gets sent to a. That's my chair. I did tell you it would break off.
Wow, the chair broke.
Give me that. And she gets sent to a mental
I've got the chair now.
a mental institution, which she then imagines as a brothel, where she dances and she tries to escape. Basically, whenever she dances for these dudes, it cuts to a ridiculous action sequence. So first she's in snowy feudal Japan and fights these massive samurai monsters.
That sounds
And
actually pretty
next, she's in World War 1 or 2, I'm not sure, fighting steampunk Nazi zombies.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
This sounds like the greatest film ever made.
This sounds really awesome.
What are you on about? This
Trust
sounds
me.
really good.
So the action sequences look like garbage.
Oh.
So the first one, when she fights these samurai things, she gets the first thing that happens in the fight is that they swat her. Can you stop playing with the chair?
No. It's taken. No, give me back the chair.
Is that she gets swatted and flown right back and
Slapped.
gets knocked into the ground. It doesn't feel anything, and all the stakes to the fight are gone.
Cool.
But surely isn't that because she's not like it's not
Really there,
happening?
right? But it's still a fight that you want to feel stakes for.
Oh, okay.
And it's not the CGI doesn't look good enough to be like, oh, this is such a cool fight. The second sequence was actually pretty cool. The Nazi steampunk ones.
Yeah.
Right,
Is
this
that,
is cool.
aren't they one with like bunnies on them or something?
What?
I don't
Nazi
know.
steampunk
No.
bunnies?
Um,
That should be the title of this
That's
episode.
their podcast.
The Nazi steampunk bunnies.
I think, unfortunately, Zack Snyder likes to use a lot of CGI, but I think he has a lot of props as an action director. There's a scene where they first go down into the trenches, and they're fighting these zombies in the trenches, and it's this sort of continuous shot where it sort of pans around and they're all fighting. The choreography's great. I think the frame rate drops a bit, so it looks really kind of, like that action movie trope where it's kind of all hyper stylized.
oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not explaining that right.
I
but-
kind of get you.
but-
A robo bunny.
Oh yeah, there's a mech as well in the Nazi one. But
Are there dragons too?
it really works as a realistic fight scene, and it's unfortunate because I think he could really do something with that. But
When did Sucker Punch come out?
2011.
I remember.
Yeah, it was
Was it?
definitely was.
I remember seeing a lot of advertisements
Checked
for
it just now.
when I was like 11 years old.
Yeah, I mean people. It had quite a big budget.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. And I kind of felt dirty every time I saw it. When I was like, "This is 11-year-old me." I thought I saw. This is something I shouldn't, because it's got a lot of scantily clad women.
And I don't want to misrepresent myself, but yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob's got a picture.
He just showed us a picture.
What a shame.
But no, it's the action is all really boring, unfortunately. Apart from that one bit in the second flash forward.
The samurai's got a minigun.
Yep.
That sounds awesome.
Trust me, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of dull.
No.
Oscar Isaac is the villain in it, and he's awesome.
I like Oscar
And
Isaac.
anytime he's on screen, I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this now.
Everything you built will fall, and from the ashes
Okay.
of the world
we'll build a better one.
That's X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah, Oscar Isaac's good in it, and I like this character, but it's kind of just super boring. And the action sequences, unfortunately, were my least favourite part of the film. The rest, when they're in the brothel, some people complain is boring, but I honestly found the action to be a bit more boring. Anyway, and we'll talk about this because we'll talk about Batman v Superman, which is also mind-numbingly boring.
I disagree.
Okay,
I do disagree.
we'll get
because
onto
I
it.
like it.
But yes, Sucker Punch is
Why?
just kind of dull, and it looks bad. At least if they'd used, I mean, it was 2011 as well, so there's not, you're right.
Yeah, I'm
the-
just trying to adjust myself.
The CGI is just, it looks bad visually. It's coloured like dirt. It looks bad. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought Sucker Punch was
Boring.
yeah, it was boring,
Okay.
unfortunately, and it could have been
Right.
super awesome.
We're gonna.
And I don't think Zack Snyder's a good storyteller. I think that's the issue with him.
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest
fair.
with you.
Let's go on to what I like to call the DC lightning round. Let's start. Watchmen. Okay, quickly.
Well, no,
We'll go.
I think we should treat Watchmen separately because it's not
Oh.
DCEU.
How about I
DC
cover these? because I haven't talked about them.
published.
Yeah.
DC
I don't have much
published.
to say about Watchmen, so I'll just do it
I'm-
quickly.
I've got some
I
stuff
saw
to
it
say.
once a few months ago and wasn't really keen on it. I don't like how it looks. I think that was the worst part of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like how it looks.
I'm a
That's
big fan
probably
of
one
its
that's
visuals.
It looks like, and I know you're probably going to butt in and say that's the point, but it looks like a cartoon. But
That's the point.
I don't think it does look like a cartoon.
I think
to
it
be honest.
does, and it's supposed to be.
I think
it's
the-
trying to be really
I
gritty.
think the
and it
action
just
is really well done, especially that opening fight scene
Sure.
with Ozymandias.
Yeah, I liked that.
I think that Dr. Manhattan, especially his powers, are displayed incredibly well. All of the characters look incredibly good. The story isn't so convoluted and doesn't have a giant squid showing up at the end like it does in the comic.
I feel like
Um,
that's the one thing it does better than Alan Moore's original is by having Manhattan be the thing that destroys New York. It
Yes.
keeps it
Spoiler
more
alert.
personal.
Well, he doesn't
I
actually,
haven't-
but I think that's a very good kind of way of kind of representing how humanity works in a sense, and how we kind of come together
in a time of crisis.
When we're scared. I mean,
and also a giant squid monster's
we
kind of
won't-
dumb.
We won't go on it for too long. But I think
I've only read half of the
I
graphic
think
novel,
I've
so
read the
I've always found that Zack Snyder missed the point about Watchmen, as it was always
do you think?
about how having superheroes wasn't a good thing. If you compare, like, if we use the fight scenes, something that the comic is fabled for, because the fight scenes in Watchmen are really disgusting. They're just brutal. Like they aren't
Disgusting, cool.
sugar coated. You don't see the characters do like awesome jumps. They are just beating the ever living hell.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me in the film, they came off as slapstick and ridiculous.
That's the thing in the film.
No, and it's not dark and gritty. It's not brutal to me.
Everybody is like superhuman. So like Night Owl, who's kind of meant to be a human.
He's Batman.
Like he kind of grabs someone's arm, punches it once,
Patrick
and the bone
Wilson
just
is
pops.
Yeah,
straight
that
out.
the thing about there's that scene where they're in the prison, and they're punching all the dudes.
That's the one bit I remember. Oh, not the one bit I remember. Sorry, the bit that I think about when I think about the action in it is that where he chainsaws the guy's hands off.
No, that's a different
Rorschach. Oh, okay.
That the
No,
thing
Rorschach doesn't do that.
the thing
No, it's like somebody's trapped in there, and the other guy's like, "You're in the way of my revenge." He gets like another henchman to chop off the other henchman's hands.
yeah,
Because Rorschach's tied his hands
it's
up
just the
inside
thing.
and
I see.
broken his hands.
Okay.
The film kind of shows like, oh, look how cool this action is. Yeah, he's beating the shit out of him. But then the comic's just like, this is not cool. This is gross.
However,
And
Right.
that was
It
kind of the Alan Moore's initial message with Watchmen. Just let me finish. Was like having these Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, they're all cool, but having these guys in real life would suck. Having superheroes running around doing their thing would be really bad, and that was the whole original point of Alan Moore's. I just didn't think it was very translated well in Snyder's version.
I think.
Okay. I just
think-
didn't.
I mean-
I just found it boring again.
I mean, he does say,
Just dull.
like comedian says, he's
And
like,
silly.
it's the American dream. The American dream is just America being a shit pile. So I think it's kind of. I think the thing that he does well, though, Zack Snyder's like he does treat difficult issues in like with the respect. So like, there's a bit where the first Silk Spectre is about to be raped by the comedian.
Oh dear.
But he doesn't like over stylize, and he's not like whatever. But like. I can't remember his name. I think he's like he kind of
He's
looks like
the
a
guy with the
KKK
guy with
member.
the noose.
Yeah, he looks
he's
like
Hangman or something.
he looks like a KKK member. Not gonna lie. But anyway, but he comes over. He just starts beating the shit out of comedian because I think that's what rapists deserve.
Yeah,
but like that's dealt with. It's not like oh yeah, that was so nice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, just
and then I think with the action as well, it's not like too shaky cam. It's not really far away. Like you are kept in the fight and you're kept with the
yeah. I'm
characters.
not saying the fights
And
aren't
that's- and
engaging.
that's
I was
what I
just
like.
saying that they're really like. They're like,
I like
oh,
the
look how
use-
cool this is.
I like the use of music as well. Like when like
The
it's going
opening to Watchmen.
dun 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 dun, dun, and then Dr. Manhattan's just exploding a bunch of Vietnamese dudes.
I like the opening with the times they are changing. That's a very memorable. Boy.
I think we should probably segue over to the DCEU.
DC Lightning Round. Let's go.
I'm going to talk about Batman. I mean, I'm going to talk about Man of Steel because I'd like to. Without
I didn't.
anyone.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't mind Man of Steel.
I think it's all right. It's not
Let me finish,
terrible.
Ben.
It's not Christopher Reeve.
Okay, Man of Steel. I actually really like this film. Now, again, quite like Spider-Man, I think a lot of it is because like of emotional attachment. At the time, I was getting bullied very badly, and I think having somebody that I thought, oh look at that person, he's strong and
Superman's
he
cool.
fights for what's right. Like I was like, that's nice. I don't know. I think I kind of, and I still do now relate. I like Henry Cavill a lot. I don't know if he's the best actor because he's not. But I think,
I wouldn't even call him
but-
an
but-
actor.
Well, I would call you a human, but you know.
I'd
what.
just call him a
But
pile of muscle with a
CGI
CGI mustache.
Anyway, but I think that his portrayal, I don't think it's a bad portrayal. I think it's a Superman that's different that we've seen before. People who say, I don't like this Superman, no, you just love Christopher Reeve Superman.
Because
If you-
Christopher Reeves was Superman.
Yeah, but because if you read the comics, there are multiple arcs where Man of Steel Superman. Let me finish, Ben. Where Henry Cavill
Ben's despairing.
Superman is much like he is in the film. And no, it's true, and I'll argue it for however long I need to.
Hey, I'm Jonathan Kent. I'm going to tell my son to leave those kids to die.
It gives him a conflicting personality
But
of what
it
to do.
Can I?
It does work because
I-
loads of people like it, like me.
I knew the Man of Steel discussion was going to
Superman's treated well.
I mean,
Can I butt in for a second? I'm not huge on how Superman is in the DCEU.
yeah, he's
He's
not.
Justice League.
He's just
As-
not interesting. Like,
As
Neither is Australia.
Oh.
Flat Earthers say it doesn't exist.
But
it's because it doesn't. I'm
Ben's
a
Australian,
actor.
by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think we've established that.
If you couldn't tell from my accent,
So
I'm
I
Australian.
I'm
and now I
not-
sound like Taika Waititi,
don't like the.
despite the fact he's from New Zealand.
Thanks, Ben. I don't like the drenched in darkness Superman they've gone for. I think you can do it well, maybe. But
It's almost like they did in the 1960s. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's almost like they did do that well with Christopher Reeve. Oh my God! Wait, they did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh wait, what a
Shocker.
shame that they've taken a different character angle on a character. I'm really sorry about that. Hey look, Captain America's Nomad now and he's dark. Nobody goes,
Yeah, because it
They
feels
like-
like a natural progression.
why
Because
does it feel like a natural progression? I'm going to drop my shield and now I'm like,
okay,
I have a beard
no,
now.
listen. Okay, Captain America. He started as the Star Spangled. I'm America. I'm like the big dude. I'm the Boy Scout. He goes, and then in Winter Soldier, he starts to he was a no nonsense
yeah, it is developed. I think
U.S.
And what's
I was
wrong with
just gonna say-
Superman taking it the other way round? He starts off darker and by the end of Justice League
Because
he's a lighter character.
doesn't matter. I
Superman
was
is
just gonna say-
not like the character that's meant to represent hope and justice. You shouldn't be doing that to. I'm sorry that I keep interrupting you.
I wasn't saying I hate Superman and Man of Steel. All my point is that I found it quite funny that I was criticised for liking quote unquote goody two shoes Superman, which I just think is so.
When were you
And there is-
criticised for saying
Do you know the other Ben?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
It doesn't matter. The point is, I don't know. I think Superman can be done, and there are flashes of Man of Steel where I'm like, because I think Snyder gets the character.
No, he doesn't.
does.
He does
I think
not.
I think
Do you
does.
remember? Do you
I think he
remember?
does.
Do you
I think he
remember
does
what
too.
he said?
Yeah.
He said that if he had
2
it
to
his
1,
way,
Ben.
Yeah,
he
but
said
it's
no,
2 to 1.
no.
so-
There, I can't. Don't.
Who's
quote me
the
on this.
Superman expert?
There is
Me.
there is a certain interview
So
where he
yeah.
said that if he was fully in charge, Superman would be ripping people's heads off, and he also said that if he made a Batman movie, Batman would be raped in prison.
Oh,
If you are telling me that he understands the characters after saying something like that, you are bullshitting.
And then you're wrong because you haven't clearly seen the interview that says he likes Injustice Superman.
Because
which is a
Injustice
which is a
Superman is
super-
the Superman that's
Yeah, and
ripping
it's a
No, no,
great
okay, no, no.
character arc where Superman
Okay.
punches through
we're
Joker's
gonna
chest.
get nowhere here.
I will give you Injustice Superman is a good way to do Dark Superman. Man
Exactly,
of Steel
and that's
Superman
what he
is
likes.
not the good way
and
to
that's
do
what he
that.
likes. He's probably trying to do it, and then WB was like, make him light. They probably had
No.
to meet in the middle.
That's because he wasn't doing it good.
I think
What?
again, just to talk on what Ben said about ripping people's heads off. I think
I'd like to rip people's heads off if I could.
I think this
Am I the first?
It's just another example of Snyder really valuing some bomb ass action.
Yeah,
over
he's
any real
a dark
character
boy.
stuff. Well, and that's fine.
He's a bit messed up.
I know, but I feel bad for him now because
Of his daughter.
his daughter's committed suicide.
I like views aside on films. When we're not talking about his family tragedy,
sure he's a good
it's
dude.
Tragedy. He's probably a great dad. It was a sad thing. Oh well. Yeah.
Should we,
And I
should
think
we,
that's,
should we talk about Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
No.
Kill
No,
me.
'cause we're just gonna argue
It's
again.
boring. Yeah, maybe
I'm-
not.
It made
okay,
me.
quick fire thoughts. Basically, I think
Jacob, go.
I quite enjoy it, and I think it's quite fun in some places. And I don't think the narrative is bad.
Okay.
Quick thoughts.
I think the narrative's horrible.
Okay.
I think I just found it so boring, and there's everyone always talks about it, but the warehouse fight sequence with Batman, I think again relating to the thing I was saying about Sucker Punch in the trenches, that kind of more hands-on. I think he really directs it really well.
Like in Watchmen with like hand-to-hand combat.
For
like
sure.
Ozymandias vs. Comedians done very well.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
what are your quick thoughts?
Pretty much everything Harry said, on top of Batman vs Superman's a really good film to look at when you talk about intent versus execution, because
Ooh, yeah.
if we look at the most controversial film, part of the film, Martha.
Oh, this is so old now, but it's still funny.
Yeah, the thing about the
I don't think
Martha
it is.
that
Sorry.
I can see where they were thinking. They were thinking by having Superman say that, Batman would come to the realization that, oh, I'm I'm bad. I'm the guy on the other side of the gun.
Humanizes Superman too.
It was humanizing him, and Batman would see that he has a shred of humanity. However, the fact that they used kind of they turned the, hey, here's a fun bit of comic nerd trivia, Batman and Superman's mums have the same name, the fact that they turned that into a major plot point, it
Dumb.
just...
The only thing I would say to argue that is that, like, now, it's not the best, but what would you have done?
He could have said something like, save mother, save her.
Yeah, but if he goes, save mother.
I have a mother too.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name?
Exactly. Like, that's just stupid.
Or my alternative, she doesn't need to say anything. Instead, you have Lois Lane run up, try to stop Batman. And then Batman sees
it doesn't matter.
She clearly has some kind of attachment to him, therefore human.
Yeah, but then
I'm
he
not a
might
screenwriter.
want to kill her too. Like,
But why would Batman do that?
because he's killing everyone.
He's not going to kill an innocent woman.
He might do. He brands a guy into something.
Yeah, but that
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
okay, whatever.
I don't find in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman the dark tone is drenched in like.
It's not a
bad
thing.
That's just a personal thing that I just sort of go, oh, for goodness sake, like.
I can't stand.
Have a bit of integrity, but. Do you want to talk about Justice League?
No, I don't want to talk about Justice League because everyone's going to roast it again.
Can we just talk about the dark thing?
I didn't mind Justice League.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, okay.
Superheroes and darks can work. Like
Ducks.
the dark ducks. Dark superhero and
Howard the
dark.
Duck.
Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Howard the Duck, ladies and gentlemen.
Too slow.
What am I talking about? Stuff like The Dark Knight and Logan do the whole dark hero, like, oh, look at me.
I haven't seen Logan yet, unfortunately.
I've been sick to death of just really gritty stuff ever since The Dark Knight Rises came out, the comic book, not the movie, and then The Dark Knight kind of became the biggest thing in the history of anything ever.
Doing Returns.
The Dark Knight, the one with Heath Ledger.
Yeah, but I thought you said
The Dark Knight Returns, not Rises. The comic book. Sorry, I'm dumb. It's just like the whole character of not only Batman but a lot of comic book has been like associated really dark. But in reality, superheroes are kind of dumb. They're just guys wearing tights who have superpowers. Like, why do you have to turn that really dark? I mean, for stuff like The Dark Knight.
That's the entire idea of superheroes. That's not Zack Snyder.
For stuff like The Dark Knight Returns, where it's a reimagining, I get that, and that works for what it is. But you shouldn't turn the status quo of Batman into one where he's a reclusive loner.
Well, I think what's important to note about Zack Snyder's sort of inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns is that The Dark Knight Returns is Batman at the end of his journey, whereas Batman v Superman was kind of
in the middle.
Yeah,
but it's our introduction to him on cinema. So
it's not the good way to introduce him.
Can be.
Can I make a little?
If you're kicking off a universe, I wouldn't say it's probably a great idea. Not that I'm criticizing Zack Snyder for making that decision. I'm just.
I mean, if you had like if it was connected to the Christopher Nolan movies, hypothetically, and if they had Christian Bale playing Batman and that was his send-off, it could work.
That could be cool.
Can I say something quickly?
Yeah.
I think for Justice League, we should just sum it up in 3 words.
I think we should just not
kill me now.
Basically,
I like it.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
My name Jeff.
I'm gonna rip off your man bun.
It's a little bit of a Franken movie, but I had a good time.
Thank you.
It was kind of fun.
The Deathstroke costume.
Me and Harry just high-fived.
The Deathstroke costume looks cool.
No, it doesn't. I think
Yes,
it looks ridiculous.
Okay,
I think it looks ridiculous.
Okay,
how
maybe
about,
I have to kill him.
how about?
I mean, it's a
How about
comic book.
we move on to our last little thing,
Too orange.
which
Too
is
orange.
which
Do we
is-
want to do that?
Yes, very quickly.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
We
do
were
it.
going
Okay.
to stuff just to kind of get a feel for us. I think our 5
feel for
favourite
me.
films.
Yeah. So we're done with Snyder now. I'm sorry. We got a little heated there, but that's okay. Ben's moving.
What's a podcast without people yelling at each other?
Probably most of them.
better.
I mean, like
A podcast that's better than ours.
it's
Anyway,
enhancing the audience.
Harry, what are your 5 favourite?
I'm going first.
Yeah. Who else?
I
would
don't
be
really have.
first?
No, it's okay. I'll do it because I don't really have a designated 5 or really designated any.
I've got my list right up here.
Okay. So I like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's really my favourite film designated.
Oh boy.
Good
Good movie.
Much like Jacob with Man of Steel, it
spoke to you.
no, it holds a lot of significance for me as a person and all that. So I love it. I like Birdman a lot.
That's a good film. I watched it on a plane.
As someone who really likes films that are extremely thematic and character driven and kind of explore that, Birdman covers so much, so well.
Didn't Michael Keaton accept like the Golden Globe for Best Actor in his underwear? That.
Maybe.
I heard
Anyway,
something like that.
it talks about so many different topics so efficiently. I just think it's brilliant. I like Milk a lot. It's the best biopic I've probably ever seen. I think it's Sean Penn's great. I just like it very much.
Who's it a biopic of?
Harvey Milk.
Oh, okay.
Is it gay rights? First gay
Yeah,
right
I know who
politics.
he is.
Okay. Lego Movie is way up there. Love the Lego Movie to death. And I don't know. I like a lot of films. For an obscure one, what kind of obscure? Pi by Darren Aronofsky is one of his first films.
American.
Is
I don't think I've seen that.
Just such a good thriller, and no one's seen it. And it's great. It's from the 90s. Also, Hardcore Henry is my.
I'm pretty sure that was more than 5.
That was 6.
You go, Ben.
Oh, you want me to go? I'll leave out the one that I know is on your list. So my sixth favorite film, but it's A Clockwork Orange. I like Kubrick, and Clockwork Orange is probably my second favorite Kubrick film, just because I kind of like breaking humans down and like examining what makes a person, and the way that he does that to Malcolm McDowell's Alex, as well as just like the film's just entertaining, and I like the northern accents that they do. I don't know. I like the type of language, and sounds rather Shakespearean. I'm a big sucker for that. 4, 5, I don't know. Hot Fuzz, the funniest comedy.
I didn't mention that, but that's one of my
the
favorites
greatest
too.
comedy of all time.
Absolutely.
Fight me on that.
It's Central Intelligence, isn't it?
Did you just give compliments to a Kevin Hart? Oh my god. Hot Fuzz is great. Yeah, watch
great.
Hot Fuzz. Shape of Water. That's a new one. It's really good.
It's pretty good.
I like it.
I love Del Toro.
Del Toro is crazy. He's like the Hideo Kojima of movies. Death Stranding, anybody? Yeah, Shape
He's
of
in
Water.
Death Stranding, isn't he?
He's he like helped write it or something. I don't know.
He's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a character.
Damn. Number 2, Godzilla, 1954. I'm a big Godzilla guy.
good movie.
I've loved the series since I was
good
little.
We're going to talk about that in episode 4.
What? I'll
So-
probably be leading that. It's a really
So say no more.
yeah.
Save
It's
it for then.
just really good. Scary as well, partly. Well, scary. That almost brings me to my favorite film of all time. Look at me. I'm good at the segues. The Shining.
He doesn't shut up about this.
I love The Shining.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I just think I'd love
The
to snap
Shining-
your glasses and stab you in the eye.
The Shining puts the
Okay.
audience in this sense
Yeah.
of endangerment. It terrifies us. The long hallway. You map out.
Ben, be quick. I'm so
you
hungry.
map out.
You've still got me to go here.
You map out a map of the hotel, and the audience familiarizes yourself with it. And yet every turn, you don't know what's going to be behind. You put in this sense of existential dread. And I am talking about this film. And
We're
I'm
going to
getting
talk about it
goosebumps.
specifically. We have a whole segment for it in
Oh,
another episode.
good!
So.
That
I fell asleep.
Okay.
I hate you.
Okay, very quickly. My fifth favorite movie is very conflicted. It's either going to be Drive, Interstellar, or my fifth favorite movie could either be Drive, Interstellar, or Infinity War.
I've
Maybe
only
War,
seen Infinity
maybe
War.
War of the Planet. Maybe War of the Planet of the Apes. Already good. Then
Infinity War was boring.
Then it's going to
Fight
be
me.
Jurassic Park, which
That was on my list
which
as
I know was
well.
on Ben's list. That's the one he missed out for me. I love Jurassic Park. It's. I mean, I used to be obsessed with dinosaurs. I think more than anyone. Ben, this is my section.
I know. I just really like that John Williams score.
And I like it when people are quiet. My third favourite movie is A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
I actually
I didn't
love
see
that
it.
film so much. It's so brilliantly
It's really
done. The creature design is awesome. The filming is brilliant. The acting is incredible. There's nothing about that film that I'd be like, yeah, I didn't like that. Like it's just so well done. My second favourite movie, as I said earlier, 2002 Spider-Man, Sam Raimi. What a boy. I love it. Fun fact, this was originally going to be called the Pod Boys podcast.
The Pod Boys podcast. You heard it here first.
Also, Jacob had the name Clips, Blips, and Audio Reels to parody Plain Strange Naughty
Sorry
Beers,
if
which
you
I
prefer-
like.
yeah.
But
Why did we pick that one?
I came up
Because
with like
it's
every
stupid.
name.
No,
and-
I came up with the best name, which was just another movie podcast, but it was already taken.
But my favourite movie of all time and the best movie of all time,
which we're going to talk about.
Incorrect.
Which we're
It's
gonna
Shrek
we're
2.
gonna
Talk about the series. But
is The Matrix. I love Keanu Reeves. I love Lawrence Fishburne.
Keanu leaves.
I love.
Isn't that the
Hugo.
one who wasn't Bill?
Sorry. I just love the film. The action is brilliant. The concept is brilliant. The filming is brilliant. There's nothing about the movie I dislike. I love it to pieces. And do you know what? If it was a woman, I would have kidnapped it by now. And let's end it.
Can we cut it there?
All right. So
Let's edit that out.
That was I mean, me and Harry and Ben want to go because me and Harry are starving.
I'm so hungry.
I was
Yeah.
just prolonging them with the Shining thing.
Okay, so
that was
so
funny.
to round it off, thanks for listening. If you made it this far.
Follow me on Twitter at real_Ben Walker.
It was a little bit scattergun maybe, but I mean we're going to be doing this for a while, so it'll get better. Apologies for the just awful audio. I mean it's just.
What are you talking about? This audio is great.
And I'm really
just to give you. We're recording this with SingStar microphones.
I don't know
So
what you're
say
talking about.
that
These are the greatest things.
I mean they're not bad.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Start for the
that we
PS2.
probably say some. Probably me. Say some really off.
If anyone was going to say something non-PC, it was Jacob.
Like if I say like the B movie is a film about racism,
How is the B movie about racism?
it could have been a joke that,
Okay.
and it was.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, and we will speak to you.
Shrek 2 is the greatest film of all
We'll do it
time.
weekly, I think.
We'll do it-
You heard
we'll
it
do it
here
weekly.
first.
Thanks, Ben.